If they force this mandatory and push on with it, how's this going to play out in your opinion? Joshua may have to vacate?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, look, if we can't make the Fury fight, which I don't see that situation happening at all, AJ will fight Usyk. I mean, a lot of people are out there going, oh, Fury or AJ won't be bothered about Usyk now. He's a fucking brilliant fighter. Like, don't worry about that. And styles make fights, by the way. But AJ believes he knocks Usyk out, and I'm sure Fury feels the same. But Usyk's a brilliant fighter, like fucking pound for pound quality fighter. So yeah, I mean, look, AJ's all he wants to do is beat Pulev and then fight Tyson Fury. So, but if that didn't happen for some reason, he would go and fight Usyk without problem.
Is Anthony Joshua your next target, and if so, when?
У Эдика, я думаю, я не знаю.
Probably we need to come and ask Eddie about that.
Would you be happy for him to fight Tyson Fury first and you fight the winner, or do you want to fight him first?
I am the mandatory for Anthony Joshua, so he has two options. One, to fight me, the other one to vacate and go fight Tyson Fury.
You know, you are defending your title against Pulev. The fight against Joshua, everybody's hoping is for undisputed. It's possible the WBO will say you've got to fight Usyk next. Tell me what matters to you. Does it matter to you for that fight to be for undisputed, or are you willing to drop a belt to make that fight happen next?
In my heart of hearts, I don't think I'll drop a belt. I think I'll fight Usyk, no problem. But I feel like the governing body should overrule a mandatory for an undisputed fight if they could. So if they were keen to get this undisputed fight on, I'm sure they'll say, look, Usyk, right now we have the undisputed championship of the world fight coming together, which overrides a mandatory. So, but what I mean is that I've worked hard to try and put undisputed fights together last year. This year's been a bit up and down. I have to really focus on Pulev, and then hopefully next year we can then look, 2 years on from 2019, hopefully me and Fury can finally get it on, and hopefully the governing bodies will see and then say, we'll override the mandatory position so you can compete for the undisputed championship of the world.
Well, if we take our minds back to before the Chisora fight, of course, the winner of that fight, Oleksandr was always mandatory anyways, but the winner of that fight was in line for a shot at Anthony Joshua. If not, you get a load of step-aside money and take that deal. However, since then, of course, we've learned that it looks like the Joe Joyce fight is going to happen. What can you tell me about what the WBO have said to you about that Joyce fight?
What you said is true. That's what we expected, because WBO was our was something that stood behind our back and what we relied on. That Usyk has been the mandatory for 2 years, maybe a year and a half, and that the WBO will force Anthony Joshua to fight Usyk first, and then as the real champion who has completed his mandatory, go for an undisputed championship in heavyweights. But unfortunately, we were really surprised to learn that WBO agreed to sanction Fury-Joshua fight for the regular WBO belt, and to let another guy go for the interim championship. That was a huge surprise for all of us.
Of course, it's
normal that we didn't like it. It's normal because the expectations were quite good, they were different.
Yeah, understandably so. This benefits Team Fury, this benefits Team Joshua. Of course, Joe Joyce comes into the picture now, so it benefits him and his team. However, in this picture, it only puts you at a disadvantage or disbenefits you. Is that a fair comment?
The only side who has no benefits of it is Oleksandr Usyk. No benefits at all. He doesn't get his right to challenge as the mandatory to challenge the heavyweight title. He doesn't get his right for the step-aside fee. He doesn't get his right to fight Anthony Joshua, to fight it for big money, and he gets a chance to fight Joe Joyce, who was never online, but suddenly appeared maybe just a couple weeks before the fight was announced by WBO.
What's Oleksandr Usyk said about this? Is he disappointed?
Yes, he was disappointed, and he's still disappointed. He says, "Okay, if I need to fight him, I will fight him," but that's not what we were expected to do, and what we initially discussed with him, and that was true. He was completely right.
Did you think about taking legal action?
What would it give us? What kind of advantage would it bring us? None. We can go legal, and let's say we can force the sanctioning body to sanction the fight for the regular belt. Would that stop AJ from fighting Fury? No way. That's actually the strongest argument WBO used for sanctioning the interim belt.
So have you accepted the situation now that you will have to fight Joe Joyce to put yourself back in for contention again?
Yeah, in case AJ and Fury fight is officially announced and settled, then we have to accept the situation.
Okay, if that fight with Joe Joyce does happen, essentially the winner is world champion, because we expect Fury and Joshua to have 2 fights, so the winner will be stripped and the interim champion will then be upgraded. Is that your understanding as well?
Yes, absolutely. That's what I spoke to Paco in January. Probably we discussed this issue, and that's what he told me. Listen, your guy, if he wins, he will become the champion. If neither Fury nor Joshua gonna plan to fight him after the first fight. So in any case, you can go forward as the champion, blah, 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 things like that.
Are we waiting first on a formal announcement for Fury Joshua for then this Usyk Joyce fight to be officially announced?
This is the procedure. It's a matter of common reason that the interim championship can be announced only in case the regular championship cannot take place. And if we have no Fury Joshua fight confirmed, how can the interim fight go ahead? There's no basis for it, no legal basis for it. So we have to wait the moment AJ Fury fight is announced, official. Contracts are signed, and WBO sends us the official letter that for the reason the champion is unavailable because he's engaged to fight for the undisputed heavyweight championship, we took the decision to sanction the interim, and the interim will become blah 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 blah. This is the proper way to do it, and I think WBO will use this scenario.
I appreciate you're waiting for that confirmation of the Fury Joshua fight, but what have talks been like so far with Frank Warren, Joe Joyce's promoter?
No talks. Yeah.
There's been no discussions.
I spoke 2 or 3 times with George, with his son. That were the only discussions we had. I explain you something. Before we jump into negotiations, we need to know the basic condition, the split between the champion or between the challenger and the challenger. So the split, if it's an abnormal situation like we have with Joyce, the split should be calculated as the percentage of the last 3 fights of both fighters. So Usyk should present his officially declared purses for fight with Bellew, with Witherspoon, and with Chisora. Same should happen to Joyce. He has to present 3 fights. Then it's all put in the same pot. Percentage for Usyk, percentage for Joyce. According to my knowledge, the split should be 93-7 in the favor of Usyk. According to WBO rules, the split, the minimum split affordable is 80-20. And that's what we asked WBO to officially confirm. 80-20 split between Joyce and Usyk. Unless these figures are confirmed, the negotiations have no sense. Because how can we give the offers if they are not relying on any of those figures? How can you say, for example, okay, I give you 1 million. Okay, I don't want to get 1 million. Come to my show, I give you 2 million. Why 2? This percentage normally is ruined by the split. And if you have no split, then no offers. Any offer has no sense.
Frank. On the theme of the heavyweight division, I'm sure you'd have seen my interview recently with Alex Krasuk, promoter of Oleksandr Usyk, who essentially said that there's been no talk so far about the fight and that Usyk deserves a 93-7% split.
Well, I've never heard of a 93-7% split ever. I mean, he might want that in his head, but that's it. Look, there have been discussions with his management team, an offer's been made. I personally spoke to some of his management team as well, and there is an offer being made, and we're just awaiting their response.
Are we close to that fight being made?
Well, I don't know. It's up to them. An offer's been made, and we'll see. But we want to do it. The WBO put the fight out, and we want to get it on. And all this procrastinating, I don't know what's going on. I mean, I don't know if they're all on the same page as a team themselves. I have no idea of that, and to be quite honest, I'm not really interested. That's their business and not mine. But we just want to get the fight on.
Well, that's his promoter, but obviously you said you've been dealing with their management side, which is Climax.
I've been dealing with their management team.
Yeah, okay, all good to hear. I do want to talk to you about the heavyweight division. So we are waiting an official announcement about Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Now, of course, the mandatory for Anthony Joshua was Oleksandr Usyk with the WBO. Just talk to me about your decision to put Usyk and Joyce for the interim title and sanction that undisputed fight with Fury and Joshua.
Nobody wants to stop probably the biggest heavyweight fight in the last since Muhammad Ali and Norton, Muhammad Ali and Foreman. Since that days, probably this is the most interesting heavyweight fight in the world for history, making history. Nobody wants to stop that, but we have a rules to follow, and that's the reason we try to find a happy medium in which we can comply with our rules. We can allow the fight to happen, but we're still waiting for the official announce. But I don't know if Eddie Hearn or Top Rank or Warren gonna announce the fight. When it will happen, we have to keep day by day watching what is happening. Follow all the information, and we hope that we can have an answer today.
Yeah, we all want the answer, of course. Us fans are desperate for that fight. Let's just look at one situation, for example. If that fight doesn't materialise or it gets pushed to the back end of the year, Paco, that Fury-Joshua fight, will you then enforce Usyk's mandatory rights for Anthony Joshua?
Yeah, we are working something, there, and I don't want to make that public, but we're still in touch with all the parties involved. But we don't want to make that public because it's a negotiation that we still continue, following. And I don't want to say anything publicly until we finally have a deal.
Yeah, I appreciate that. But from what you're saying at the moment, it seems like as us fans are unclear about what's going on, it seems unclear from your end as well because of what the promoters are saying at the moment. Is that fair?
Yeah, we gave until summer to have the fight happen. We want the fight to happen in summer because we cannot delay. Because some party got some rights there. We don't want to stop the fight. We want to follow our rules. And we gave until summer for the fight to take place. And we're still waiting for the final announce that the fight will take place, the venue and the date.
Of course. When you put this to Team Usyk about fighting Joe Joyce for the interim title, what was their response, Paco? Were they displeased with the options you presented?
No, we still doing it in different ways. They want, with the committee make a decision. Paco, the championship committee, WBO championship committee make a decision. They have to follow the decision. We have the power to do it. And we don't want to stop the fight. They don't want to stop the fight. They understand because boxing we want to see Joshua and Fury fighting, but they want to they announced that the fight will take place in summer. That's something we are still waiting. Everybody, Usyk team, Joy's team and the other parties. We are all in the same stuff, you know, and we have to watch day by day what is happening.
How much of a difficult decision was it when you're in the process of making it to sanction that undisputed fight and also make Joyce Usyk with the interim title? How much of a difficult decision was it?
It's very difficult because Eddie knows what will happen when Usyk had the right to fight when Joshua get beat by the Swiss. But Eddie, you know, he talked to the parties, he talked to me, and you know, we get the opportunity. Then they had the other mandatory bullet. Then Eddie, you know, gave another fight to Usyk, and they agree on with the condition that they're going to fight. Now the fight they are talking about Usyk and Joshua, and they want to see the fight too, and they want to be stoning the way to the fight happen. Okay, and then they have their rights, you know, and we have to enforce our rules. And that there, but that is what I'm telling you. We still, you know, negotiating. We don't want to make it that public. All the parties involved, and everybody knows what is happening. All the parties involved know what is happening, including Team Usyk, Team Joshua, Team Fury, all the promoters involved, all the parties involved. They are well informed, and the managers are well informed, and the fighters. Okay, and once we have that, and we have the day for Joshua and Fury, then we can enforce the rest of the resolution. The problem is we gave a time, you know, a 2 day to Joshua for the fight to take place, and we are waiting for that. But we're supposed to have that answer today or during the weekend.
Okay, so when is the cutoff point for that answer?
For the what?
Like the cutoff point. When is the final time they can give you that answer about
summer for the fight to take place.
The summer?
Summer to the fight to take place. Yeah.
Okay.
Keeping it with the heavyweights, you mentioned there Joe Joyce. The Joe Joyce Usyk fight, I know a lot of it depends on what happens with the Fury AJ negotiations. Where is everything that's at? Because it's 2 fights everybody wants to see. Obviously one gets all the press, but one is the one that boxing fans are desperate for, that Joyce Usyk fight.
We got him in the position, we lobbied the WBO to get him into the position, and WBO put out their called for the fight to be made between Usyk and Joe for the interim title. But everything's at an impasse now, because what was being said is that they'll give a period of time to allow for Tyson and AJ fight to take place. If it doesn't, then they're going to tell AJ that he's going to make his defence against his mandatory as Usyk. So Usyk doesn't want to be getting involved in an interim, he just wants to go straight for the title. So we're a little bit of an impasse until we get this situation resolved between this fight between Tyson and AJ. We are where we are. So I think that's going to come to a head fairly soon now. You know, we've not had an offer which we feel was suitable. And we're awaiting an amended offer, and once we get that, then all the interested parties can consider it, and we've all got a will to make this fight happen. It's a no-brainer for us to get it on, but it's when it goes on, where it goes on, and a couple of other issues that need to be resolved. And until we get, as I say, till we get the at least a deal memo, binding memo, we are where we are. So unfortunately, Joe's suffering. I want to get Joe out. I mean, he had a good win. I'd like to him to have fought, on Saturday. We'd like to have him out by now, but he will be out sometime, no doubt about it, in June. Whatever happens, if it's Usyk or not, he'll be out.
and obviously we have to look to the future. We were hearing for a long time, May the 22nd, you against Oleksandr Usyk. That would have been a great irony because you fought Usyk here in the amateurs, actually, didn't you?
Yeah, I thought.
How good would that have been?
Yeah, it was electric on the night. I thought it was Ukraine in here.
It was amazing. Yeah, I was here, but it didn't go your way. So obviously there is a sense of unfulfilled business against Usyk. Is that your likely next step, or does everything at the moment depend on fixing this potential Fury-Joshua fight?
Yeah, so I think that big fight, that super fight, needs to happen, and then we can go about making the fight with myself and Usyk, because that is going to be an explosive showdown and a rematch. And this is why I'm in boxing, and it's, you know, it's a great opportunity because Usyk's ranked #1 in the WBO and I'm ranked #2 in the WBO. So this fight's got to happen. So this is why I'm here. We need to make this fight. Need to get the big fight over the line and get our fight on.